Hi, Pi.
Hey,
How you doing today?
fine.
So today we're gonna pick up where we left off on our last video, and we are gonna talk about your time in Washington D.C. So you finished boot camp in San Diego, California,
Yes.
and then your first station was a
Wa-
post in Washington.
Washington, D.C.
All right, so let's talk about that.
Well, I arrived at the Washington, Dulles Airport. Then I took me to, went to Quarter Square K and report there. And then the guy, the barracks, they would say, well, I'll work on that particular building. So on Monday, you go with me and I'll introduce you to the administration office and then take it from there. So when we got there to the administration building, he told me to go into that room. I presented my orders to the guy, and he looked at me, asked me a couple questions. He was looking at, asking me questions, looking through this book. He came to a point. He put the finger down. He looked at me and backed off a little bit and say, "You're not authorized to be in this building because you need to have a top clearance to be in this building. You're not even a citizen." So from there he sent gave me orders to go to Anastasia Air Base to wait for further orders. So while I was there, I worked for about a week in the barracks, kind of janitor kind of work. 2 weeks later, I got my orders to go work in the in the gallery, fixing the peeling potatoes, onions, being ready for the food. Then from a couple weeks doing that, they put me in the service line, serving the people coming in. And then about a month later, they needed a assistant baker, so they transferred me to the bakery section where I make all the desserts for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Boy, I had a lot of fun doing that. And
What was your specialty? What did you bake?
we'll make apple pies and whatever. The, we made some kind of a little dessert for breakfast and apple pies for the afternoon. So I was pretty busy all the time, but I made it look fun to me.
Yeah. So, where was this station? You said where was it?
Anastasia.
Anastasia. Oh, okay.
Just across the river where they got where the president usually go to the hospital. It says also in Anastasia.
Oh, okay. Got it. For those that are not familiar
And
with it.
during that time, during the weekends, I used to go sightseeing in Washington, D.C. And after about 3 or 4 months in the gallery, they sent me to Quarters K in Arlington, Virginia. And my duty there was the janitor on the administration building, where
Okay.
the morning you can go sweep the floor, wash it, and then wax it, and then while I was there, I learned to ride a bike, and a lot of friends of mine used to go ride a bike, so I had to learn how to ride a bike. So I checked out the bike because you don't have the bikes belong to the base. You just check that out.
Oh, okay.
And so I decided to go learning how to ride a bike, and I chose to learn to ride a bike in Arlington Cemetery.
Oh,
Used to
wow.
go ride around all the time through all the unknown soldiers, and just further down from the unknown soldiers was the Robert T. Lee Mansion, which is still there, I hope. And then we used to go ride in Washington, D.C., the Capitol building. We'd look all over the place, run through the Capitol building. Of course, on the tours, you only go to a certain section of the building. So that was fun.
You got
I
to
used to
sit.
carry a camera with me, taking pictures all the time. Everybody. Sometimes you can take a picture. People will be sitting, posing, taking pictures, and I would come around. And I take a picture, them included.
Yeah, you took candids, so you
Uh-huh.
like to take them in their natural
Yeah.
setting.
And we used to go to also to the what they call there was an amusement park that we used to go around, ride up quite a few times. With that one, we used to take a bus to go to that park, but that was a lot of fun.
Where was that park located?
It's in Washington D.C.
Okay.
There's I forgot the name of it, but so I can't think of it right now.
You
But-
have some pictures we'll share with everybody later from the amusement park.
And that was good. And then one time I was watching. It was in October. There was what someday I think it was the 4th, somewhere around there. Anyway, I was doing my job. I had just swept the floor, washed it down. Was waiting to put the wax, and then the officer, the duty officer, came over and said, "Well, go to the barracks and change clothes and come back to to muster to present everybody." So we came. So he didn't tell us why. So I went and did what he asked, came back, and everybody was present. He took count of everybody present, and then we got called you here because we got bad news. Kennedy's just been shot and he's dead, and we gotta pick volunteers to stay guard for the funeral procession, and I'll ask for volunteers. So they asked for volunteers to raise up their hands. But I wanted to go and take some pictures, so I did not raise my hand. So the duty officer said, "Well, since everybody volunteer, I'll choose from the tallest one." The first one he picked was me. I said, "I did not volunteer." Then he looked at me and said, "Now you just did." Okay, talking back. So during that parade, I was standing guard, side guard on the in front of the Bureau, Federal Bureau of Investigation.
The FBI building?
Yeah, FBI building. Then after the funeral passed by, after the casket passed by, we got it back into the bus and went around different blocks and stay guard again on top of the Memorial Bridge, the one leaving from Washington D.C. right to Arlington Cemetery. So we stayed there, and then there was fun. Then after my duty in Washington D.C.
So, Pi, when you stood guard, let's talk about Kennedy's funeral just a little bit more. When you stood guard, is that the black uniform that we all see? What do they call that uniform?
Well, we just use a regular Navy uniform.
And that's the dark one?
Well, there's only one Navy uniform. It was all the same.
Oh,
The
but you
Navy
have,
color.
we posted a picture the other day. I guess this is where I just wanted to clarify. You had a white one.
Well, there's a white one and a dark one. Yes,
Okay,
that's right. Yeah.
yeah.
So it was we use
So
the
what-
ones that went to time. We use the dark one. The
It's
white
like the
one
dress
is
one?
the other one is for kind of summertime, thing like that.
Ah, I see.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then you have, when you stand guard, does the Navy have guns? Do they?
No, we
rifles?
did not. We did not guns. No.
So the sailors just line up.
So just line up to prevent people to rushing into the
Okay.
into the casket.
I see. So
And
then
when the casket come by, there was these the Navy was horses. They were on horses, and one horse without the rider, but there's a pair of boots sitting backwards
on
that
the horse.
represented Kennedy's horse.
Oh, okay.
So that
Yeah.
was kind of interesting.
So how close during the funeral did you get to the service, to the cemetery?
Our
You were on the bridge, you
I
said,
was on
right?
top of right about halfway to that bridge.
I see.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then after but you from that place where I was standing guard, I could look at the cemetery. I could see the flight where the Kennedy was gonna be buried.
Oh, okay. The
So a lot
site.
of people sitting there.
I see. And then you told me this story a few times over the years, and sometimes when we watch the History Channel and we watch videos about Kennedy and there's footage from the funeral on a regular basis, you've told me, oh, this was my view. You said something about standing under the cameras.
Yeah,
So what was filmed?
That was the one that was in front of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. If I was across the street, I would have been on the camera itself.
You would have been lined up on the camera.
Yeah.
So you basically were the point of view that everyone sees in all the historic footage.
Yeah.
You were on that side. It's kind of funny because not funny in a laughable way, but you wanted to take pictures, and your point of view, you were standing right by where the footage was being filmed. So, so then Kennedy's buried. We have lots and lots of slides that we have to convert into photographs from your time and Kennedy's his burial site when it still had fresh flowers. You have pictures of that in Arlington Cemetery.
And also the after he was buried, sometimes I wanted to go visit the grave itself, and it took months because every time I go up there, there'll be a line of people walking to the thing just to see it. So I thought, well, I don't have time to go, so I have to take another time, keep going, forward like that.
Yeah. And I think, this video is running a little longer than our last ones, but we'll conclude here, and then we'll talk more about Washington, D.C. in the next video. But one thing before we go, since we are talking about President Kennedy, just to remind everyone, when he was a senator, he was a key part of the Azorean Refugee Act that brought your family here. So your family was one of the first 1,500 visas that were granted under geological, refugees, like because of the volcano exploding. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like what does President what does he mean to you?
No, he was kind of interesting. A lot of times I used to go ride the bike, and then sometimes go by around the White House, and sometimes I felt like I should go in there and talk to Kennedy and explain how to give him thanks for allowing me to come to this country. But I never had a chance because the time is not everybody could go into the place.
Yeah. So, did you ever meet anyone? During that time, was there ever anyone that was involved that you were able to have that conversation with? Did you have any exposure to anyone?
No, never. I just explained where I come from and things like that, and but never had a chance to sit down and one of the reasons I didn't go probably in the White House to talk to him was because my poor English at that time.
Really? You think if you felt like your English would have been a little bit better, you would have been brave enough to ask?
Probably, yes.
Really? Oh, wow. I think that would have been an amazing time for you. So how many other sailors were like you in your group that were immigrants?
The immigrants, I didn't see any immigrants, but there was different. There was 4 of us who used to go all the way around visiting. One happens to be a colored person.
Yeah.
And for that reason, there was a couple of times that we refused to be serviced because they would not serve him.
So we're going to talk about that in a
Uh-huh.
separate video because I think it's important that we just focus on civil rights
And
movement.
that amusement park they used to call that I mentioned earlier is called the Glen Echo Amusement Park.
Glen Echo. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. We'll look it up and we'll see if what happened of that amusement park and see if we can find any photos in your slides. So for now, thank you for this video. I think everyone's going to appreciate hearing about your time and where you were and how President Kennedy affected your life and brought us all here to make us Americans. If you want to say any parting words for those that are watching.
Well, all I could say is I enjoyed the time that I was in service, and I did my duty as an American citizen, and I think everybody should be able to do the same thing.
Yeah. All right.
And there would be a better country.
Yeah. Go ahead and say goodbye to everyone watching.
Goodbye, everybody, and have a pleasant day.